so we can take some questions at the end, a few questions, and Josh, if you would be looking at those for us. Let's fast forward to the last press conference of any kind from Sumner County was in April, correct?
Yeah, believe that was Sumner County and T.B.I. did a press conference where they couldn't even put my son's picture up. They couldn't even do a press conference about Sebastian with a picture of my son who was missing to remind the people who were watching that this was the child. This is what the child looks like that is missing. This is why we're here. And, you know, what came out of their mouth was pretty much one of the last few nails in the coffin. I had search parties going. I had people being followed, and I don't like people being threatened who are trying to help find my son. But I told people to keep an eye out. If you can get a license plate number, get that, make, model, color of the vehicle, and I would submit that and give that stuff to Sumner County and T.B.I. And I had several people give me information, make some models of vehicles. I had some of them that got license plate numbers, and I passed that stuff on to Sumner County, and I passed it on to T.B.I. But when they held that press conference and said that nobody was being threatened or anything else, I lost it.
Threats. To your knowledge, have they filed any police reports or reports to the Sheriff's Department documenting any of these alleged threats?
No, sir.
Are we able to learn anything about what those threats are?
They would have to call the police and report them.
We do want to caution some, there are some social media elements out there who purport to have information that is direct from the investigation. I just want to reiterate that that is not the case. Some of the information that is being provided on some of the social media channels is inaccurate.
But said when T.B.I. said, the lady from T.B.I. came up and said, hey, all this information that's not true is being said on social media, then I'm like, so then what is it then? What's the stuff that isn't true? Can you correct some of these things so that we can proceed on? What's the stuff that you're saying that is being said on social media right now that is not the truth? Speak now or forever hold your peace. But that didn't happen. Interesting, right? Things that are being said on social media, there's a lot of stuff that's not true. What is it? Just say what it is so we can move the F on and proceed with correct information. But if you got people out here talking wireless on damn microphones in podcasts and then going on Nancy Grace and saying something completely different, you know that's coming from the source itself. It's not speculation, okay? It's not so. Where is the lies? There's theories out there. Just like you guys have theories, I'm sure. Back in your offices, drinking your coffee and looking at your diagram on your cork wall, right? So I don't know what's wrong with that.
Distraction, because a lot of what has been out there in some of the social media channels has been rumors and speculations and theories, and some of that has been advanced and people have caught a hold of it as if it's what's really happening. That has resulted in us getting information that is either, like I said, distracting. It's taking away time.
A lot of the stuff that's being put out here is because of the bed the Proudfoots have made.
An effort from what the agencies need to be doing as far as looking for Sebastian. We have had so far, as of this morning, 314 tips that have come in through the tip line. It's been mentioned, but I'll say it again. It's 1-800-TBI-FIND. We are also taking tips through email, which is tips to TBI, TBI, at tbi.tn.gov.
I lost it. It was like, you guys are hiding information from the public right here. You know, I've given you guys information, makes and models of these vehicles, license plate numbers, and you're going to come out and tell people that people haven't been being threatened. I've been followed. I've been threatened, you know, and you guys are just going to sit there and act like it never happened. You're acting just like somebody else is acting. Like my son is, you know, hiding at my house or something. Like he's not missing.
The parents have been cooperative throughout. At the beginning of the investigation, they have pretty much done whatever law enforcement has asked of them. At this point, we don't have any evidence. There is not any kind of an indication that there is a criminal element involved. But we are keeping options open. We don't know what has happened. We don't know where Sebastian is right now, so we are pursuing any and all avenues.
Two questions, if I may. Have you ruled out Sebastian's mom's and stepdad's involvement in this case? And as a follow-up, have you cleared their alibi?
I think the TBI said it best. They've been nothing but cooperative with law enforcement since day one.
So you're telling me that they've been doing, the Proud Feets have been doing everything they can in the search? No, they're not. They're very cooperative. That's what he said. You know how many times the press asked, are you sure? Can you believe that is? Are you sure? Are you sure they're not suspects? You're not looking at the Proud Feets, not even for 1 minute, not one damn, not one second. They've been doing everything they can to cooperate. They've been cooperating in the search. That don't mean a damn thing. It don't. It really don't mean a damn thing, guys. Oh, sure, you need my phone? Ain't nothing on there, so go ahead and go. Oh, you need to see his room? Okay. Go on, go through that thing. Sorry, no. Here's the other thing, too. Biological father out there in these streets. He's the only one in the family, the immediate family, okay? Out of the three. That's what I'm trying to say. No knocking because there's other relatives, godparents, etc. All a part of this search. But just because Proud Feets are out here working with 5-0, cooperating with them at least, does not mean that they don't have something hidden up their sleeve. It just doesn't. So we can sit here all day long saying, oh, they're cooperating and they've done nothing wrong. They are cooperating and they've done nothing wrong. Like, just why aren't they on the streets, man? Why aren't they putting up flyers? Why aren't they having sleepless nights? Why are they jumping in RVs and going on vacations and then coming back when it's convenient to them? Why? Now, I honestly do not know what kind of information. Like, I really don't know what they're giving to the police. I really don't. Okay? I don't. Okay? And none of us do. And they can say all kinds of crazy stuff just to save face. But they also could have had time to come up with something elaborate, something pristine, something solid to cover their own tracks. I don't know about this, guys. I don't know about this, y'all. I'm definitely feeling some type of way about that press conference. It's just trash. And it's just like, there's so much stuff going on the internet that's not being, it's like, no, there's people that are having interviews with the dad. Now, if there's anything else, like, it's not like I've listened and watched every single video under the sun. Okay. But the misinformation that may be out here could be constructed because of the interviews that the Proudfoots have been having on certain platforms. And then they're saying different things on other platforms. So it's not us. It's not us. It's not. Unless it's people who are just making up tabloidy crap just for the sake of making crap for a few clicks. We know a few people like that out there in the world that make up ish for the sake of making up ish. And it's trash. But hey, if that's their lane, that's what they're gonna do, right? So, like I said, as much as they sit there and they try to go after the content creators and whatnot, that ain't working for me. I still got a lot of questions, y'all. And police aren't going to give us much, and they may not know much. And at the same time, they're looking at these two, and I guess whatever they're doing, they're cooperating, but then, I'm wondering if they're asking the right questions. Okay? I'm actually wondering if they're asking the right questions here. What we believe is true, or to rely on the people that are giving us the news as reliable, solid sources. Unfortunately, the internet is vast, and there's a lot of people out here that will make up BS for the sake of making BS. So we have to be careful with that.
Of this investigation, there is no evidence to support foul play on the part of Sebastian's parents.
If police are just passionately saying that, gesticulating and emphasizing everything with some sort of gesture, if they're doing all that, say that they're innocent kind of thing, they have not given us any reason to look at them as suspects. Okay, that could be for real, or it could really just be for show. Yes, media is why he is still in the spotlight. Abso-freaking-lutely. Absolutely, y'all. Let's keep it a buck. The only reason why this is existing is because, or this press conference is even existing, is because the people spoke and they actually listened this time. A shout out to the social media platforms. I say it since dude did not give y'all a shout out. Thank you so much. You know what I mean? Absolutely. Thank you. Like I said, sometimes we're getting information out before they even get the information. Okay? I'm just saying. Amanda, thank you so much for the 5. How do we know Sebastian ever made it home from dinner? Until I see proof, I don't think he did. Now, you know what? Okay, so I've been saying this for a minute now. I've been saying this for a minute, not since day one. Like sometimes when you get the thing into the case, you break the news onto your platform. Not saying that I broke the story, not at all. But, I was one of many that brought up the conversation. And as you go, further into the case, more questions start popping up in your head as you sit there and you're thinking about it, on when you're off camera, or when you're not looking at the case. Sometimes things flash into your brain going, wow, maybe, wait a second. So you're telling me that they had dinner, and then after dinner, they went straight back home. And then the next morning he disappeared. So really the last moment he actually was physically seen was in Texas Roadhouse. And then he got into a car and then he drove home. So that time, from the time that they pulled out of that parking lot of Texas Roadhouse to the time that to the time that Katie Proudfoot walked into his bedroom early in that morning, we have nothing to show for that stuff. There's no proof of life during those several hours. So in my mind, I'm going exactly that. Where's the proof? Do they have footage of, stoplights, intersections? They even said, which makes no sense. They should have been asking about this. And maybe they did. Maybe they're just reiterating it or repeating it again for anybody who's new to the case or just got into learning about Sebastian's case. But they said, hey, anybody who has ring cam footage, anything of that sort that may have seen him passing by, please contact us. I'm like, wow, that should have already been done. Right? Right? And goes on. The case gets bigger and bigger. You start to ask more and more questions. Your questions become more and more sophisticated. They get more and more nuanced, more and more focused. Instead of it just being like, where is Sebastian? You see what I'm saying? So now, yes, Amanda, I agree 110%. Where's the footage? Show me footage of him in that car, still alive, driving back to the house. At least driving back towards as close to the neighborhood as they can. Then we can sit there and go, okay, from that time to that time, he was still, you can see he was scratching his nose or scratching his face, or he was on his phone doing whatever at an intersection. Show us proof of those things. Shrink down the timeline just a tiny bit. You're telling me that you got somebody who works for Brink Security. There were no cameras allegedly on in the house. But then I'm also hearing that there were cameras in the house. But like I said, that's information that I have not gotten confirmed. But there are cameras in the house. But if there's cameras in the house, then they have a security system. And then that would mean that she lied on Nancy Grace, if it's true.
Do you have any home surveillance, anything at all that would have given us an idea or a clue if the door had been opened or not, or a window?
Not directly from our house.
Well, then from where?
That's what we were hoping, that neighborhood ring cameras may have picked something up.
Gotcha.
Hey, remember the interview, the very, 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 very first interview, and I was talking about how Chris Proudfoot's butthole puckered up, and he was like, and he was stumbling over himself when they were talking about footage, extra footage, and all that coming from the house and all that. Does anybody remember that? And he kind of just got like, you could tell he's like, for a second, just for a second. And then he stumbled, but then he found the wording again, and he found his footing, because he kind of stumbled with his words, and then he found what he needed to say, and he said what he said, and he moved on, and then they moved on to other conversations, right? But he puckered up. Real talk. When you get some time, go near the it's like the second to last question, I think. Second or third last question that was asked. And you could tell. He's just, just saying. So if there really is cameras inside the house, if they really are there, Katie did not tell the truth there. They both didn't tell the truth there. Talking about no security cameras, no security whatsoever. Yet they do have code locks on their doors.
how he would have gotten out or if somebody came into the home. Could they have gotten through the garage door? No, unless they know the code or had the clicker, which they did not. Do you lock your doors at night?
Yes, ma'am.
Could he have left on his own through those doors?
He could. Yes, ma'am.
And then also on top of that, let's not forget, you work for Brinks.
Miss Proudfoot, what do you do for a living?
I am an installation technician.
You work for Brinks Security. Make it make sense. Somebody. And making it make sense. Because that's the part that doesn't make sense to me, guys. I'm sorry. You work for Brinks Security, but you ain't got no security except code locks on your doggone door. Now, Karen just said here a second ago, they are cheap. Let me tell you. Either you're saying the cameras themselves are cheap, or you're saying financially they might be a little bit fine and frugal. Now, let's see this really quick. If they are frugal with their money, wouldn't she get some sort of employee discount? Wouldn't she? I don't know. Like I said, I would love, oh yeah, Valerie, I would love to interview them. I would love to. But if I'm telling you right now, if Chris ever was to raise his voice at me, he would not like me. He would not like me. And that's on God, because you're not going to disrespect my platform and the people that watch my show. I will say that. Frugal. Now, let's see this really quick. If they are frugal with their money, wouldn't she get some sort of employee discount? Somebody. And making it make sense. Because that's the part that doesn't make sense to me, guys. I'm sorry. You work for Brinks Security, but you ain't got no security except code locks on your doggone door. Now, Karen just said here a second ago, they are cheap. Let me tell you. Either you're saying the cameras themselves are cheap, or you're saying financially they might be a little bit fine and frugal. Now, let's see this really quick. If they are frugal with their money, wouldn't she get some sort of employee discount? Wouldn't she? I don't know. Like I said, I would love, oh yeah, Valerie, I would love to interview them. I would love to. But if I'm telling you right now, if Chris ever was to raise his voice at me, he would not like me. He would not like me. And that's on God, because you're not going to disrespect my platform and the people that watch my show. I will say that. I will say that. But at the same time, maybe it'll all be yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. I don't know. Okay? So it just doesn't make any sense, those pieces. Okay? It just doesn't. It just doesn't math. It just doesn't math for me. Now, I get it. That not like, yes, just because you work for, I'm going to say this, okay? On the side of, because we gotta try to, hop on the other side of the fence. I know I've been leaning kind of hard on one side of the fence. We got to get over to the other side of the fence really quick to keep it fair, to keep it even and balanced. So let's talk about this. Even though I'm side-eyeing them like a mug, still, just because you work for a company does not automatically mean you are going to have those things in your house. Sure. That's very, very true. It's not like she's going to go, oh, everything I have is Brinks. Nah, doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that at all. But it is a bit weird, okay, that if you know everything about security cameras, about keeping homes safe, that you wouldn't have something like that yourself. It just seems a bit weird. Seems a bit weird. Okay. But like I said, I've heard, and this is just, I don't have confirmation of it yet. I don't have confirmation. I've just heard through people about cameras actually in the house. And here's the other thing too. If cameras are in the house, see, this is the important part, guys, that goes onto the other side of the fence too, which is the other side of the fence of innocence for those two. If there is cameras inside the house and the cops actually have access to that footage, and the cops are coming on here in these interviews and in this press conferences and saying that they are not suspects right now, if they must see something. They must see something in that footage that shows proof positive that they didn't do a damn thing, that there was no movement inside the house. Let's not forget that too. Just erring on the side of trying to be on the other side of it. Okay? We got to remember that.